Hi guys, welcome to my video this morning. Today we are going to be producing something a little bit different. You can see what I've sectioned off here. So from the centre of the head, this side, we're going to have triangular gradation. And from here to the centre of the head, we are going to have a round gradation. So round gradation opens up the face and the weight is pushed towards the back. Triangular gradation, the weight is reduced, is shorter hair in the back and longer at the front. The shorter hair pushes the long hair forward. Same with the front will be shorter and that will push this weight back. So it'll be a nice wee different, unusual haircut. I've sectioned off the top. We're going for a pattern here. I've got a little fringe going on. I want to cut this into a little micro fringe here, and I'll have this whole section down longer. Okay, I've actually got some heads here, so I'm going to show you the way I'll be doing the round gradation. So on the round gradation side, I'm going to be starting off here, cutting my section, and then I'm going to elevate out all the way round to the very back of the head, to the back here. So let's get started on this first side. We're going to start off with the round gradation first. I'm using my Joel scissors. Make sure that you hold your scissors in your ring finger and your thumb. If you hold them in at this angle here, it means you've got a greater range of movement and it's much more comfortable for your wrist instead of holding them like that. Okay, let's get started. I'm just going to pin that up there, move you in closer. So I take my first section. I'm going to actually spray this hair a little bit. It's more damp. The wetter the hair the better, because the weight then pulls that down and it really helps when you're cutting. Take my first section. Take this away, hit the rod. Choose a length. Want to go round about here. I'm using the mouth as a guide, as my reference point. When I go into cut, I'm just drawing those scissors back. Then what I'm going to do is, this is going to become my guide for the whole haircut. So I pull out towards myself and I can see that gradation. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back in, cut the line a little bit more rounded. That's better. So I've cut the line now straight across. Then I pull that out towards me and I can clearly see my gradation there. Just going to tidy up that line. Okay, so now number one becomes my guide for the whole haircut. We're going to be working with forward diagonal sections. This means that the top of the section is going to be heavier, and this is going to ensure that the weight's getting pushed back the way. Gradation is a building of weight. So there we go. I'm just going to lift up number one. Notice the thickness of the section. It's no thicker than my finger's width. I'm ensuring that I can properly see through that section before I cut. Drawing my scissors back all the time. and I'm standing directly across from the section that I'm cutting. Lovely. Now I'm going to get rid of section 1. Section 2 now becomes my guide. Making sure I can clearly see, drawing my scissors back. Next section. Now I'm going to be taking in down to the nape here, making sure that section's not too thick, about the thickness of one of my fingers. And I'm getting rid of all the other sections here, apart from number 3, pulling that out. Actually, I will try and turn the head round a little bit to see if it gives you a better view. Let's have a go on that. No, it doesn't. And I'm making sure that those roots in the strands are all straight. There's no hairs crossing over each other. And now I'm going all the way down. Now I can clearly see that guideline there, and I'm going to work that right down into the nape. Let's just go right down into the nape area. Never cutting past my second knuckle because the landscape completely changes and it becomes really bulbous here. And if I'm a learner, I'm more likely to cut myself. Okay, so we can get rid of that section there. Take my next section, fingers width, comb goes in all the way straight down. Nice clean guide, nice clean section, sorry. Making sure that I'm standing directly across from the section that I'm going to cut. Just looking at the strands of hair, they're all being pulled straight towards me. There's no crossover, strands. I can clearly see my guide working down now into the nape. I am going to now turn the head slightly more towards, that's it. Just to make sure that I'm directly across from that section, fingers width, down to the nape. Remembering that I'm only going halfway in this head because I want to do some triangular gradation on the other side, because I want to make this a kind of wee bit unusual haircut. Always when I'm cutting, I keep in my mind that all these strands are pointing into the middle of the head. I don't want them facing this way or facing that way. If I just pull them straight out, just make sure that they're pointing up here to between the crown and the apex. That just gives me confidence that I'm holding the hair in the correct place. And then I can go in and cross check. Lovely. on to the next section. Normally, if I was doing round graduation on both sides, you would be crossing over from the recession area all the way to behind the ear, but we're not doing that today, so we're just going to the very middle of the head today. Spinning that head round a little bit more. If this was a client, I would be walking round the client so that I was directly across from every section that I was cutting. Getting rid of the other sections. Oh. Making sure I'm on that guide. Down into that nape area. Those strands are from the other side. I'll just tidy them up there in the clip. Just subdivide there. Make sure I'm on my guide. And as I go in, just pulling my scissors back. And every time I move, just pulling the section that I'm on just to the previous section, just pulling that every section just to the previous. I'll have 2 sections out of this here. Cross check. Yep, lovely. And I can clearly see that gradation is getting longer towards the back. That way it's just going to drop off nicely towards the back there. 1 section left. As you can see, now I'm just going to pull it to the previous. Lovely. Now I'm going to cross check. Lovely, and I can see that it's getting longer towards the back. Just going to bring this top section down. Lovely, that's the first side done. Let's move on to the triangular side now. Let's go on with our second side. Here we're going to be doing triangular graduation. Now I'm going to actually take this side just away like this to get it out my road, but close enough that I can still tie in, because I want to really tie this in. I want this to be the first guide for my triangular graduation, so that I get a nice flow from one side to the other. You can achieve graduation through taking pivoting sections. So you would start off here and then you would work up to just behind the ear, knuckles facing towards the earlobe. Or you can take vertical sections. So today we're actually going to work on vertical sections because I really want to tie this in, and when I take my section I'm going to be pulling it just to the last section because I don't want the drop off too severe. You can pull everything back to number 1 and then you'll have a real severe drop off, or you can work cut number 1, pull 2 into number 1, pull section 3 into number 2, etc., so on and so forth. Okay, just to make life easier for myself, I'm going to actually just put this head down very, very slightly, just so I can work into that nape area. Okay, so I'll start off by taking my first slice. I'll take everything else away in a clip to really keep it nice, neat and tidy as I work. This is going to give me the best result possible and make my cut as precise as it can be. Okay, so let's start with this triangular graduation on the right hand side. So I'm just going to pull directly out from the head. I can see my guide from around graduation and that's what I'm going to work with. I'm just going to cut down into that. Again, using finger angle to create graduation and not cutting past that second knuckle. Now I'm going to take my next slice, and my next slice is going to come in and be pulled into this section here. I was going to use pivoting sections, but I've decided against that. So I'm ensuring that I'm standing directly behind the section, the previous section. So I'm making sure I'm directly behind section number 1 so that I can pull section number 2 into that nicely. Then if I turn this to the side, and I pull this out, you should be able to see that nice angle there. Now I'm on section number 3, so I started here with my section, then my next one, and now 3 I'm even higher up the head and coming down. And as I pull that section into the last section, just to ensure that that's going to be getting longer as we work towards the front. The section starts looking like a backwards diagonal section, doesn't it? Working in nice straight sections. Just going to cross check. Taking nice straight clean sections. Letting that length build as we move towards the front. Pulling that section back just to the last section. You can see a strand there. Just on the corner of the head now. Ensuring I can see that section before I cut. Ensuring I can see the guideline before I cut, sorry. Just have a wee look at the back there. The colour in this hair really helps you see the weight line. So you can see the weight lines just falling like this. When you're cross checking, you just go the opposite way on the head. Little strand. So when you think about shapes within cutting, a triangular shape goes really, really well over a round head. And it really closes the face in. Okay, now we're moving on to the side. So I want this drop off quite severe. So what I'm going to do is everything here. So now moving to the back, what I'm going to do is everything here now goes straight back and it ties in with this section here. So now what we've got left is our fringe area and our top section. And just tie the top into the side. So I take the top, comb it directly from the roots, use the inside of my fingers, pull it across, you can see that, and then tie it in. I'm just going to cross check that. Nice. As I say, I'll put in my outline at the very end. Now we're going to work on this little fringe. So I'm loving the little micro fringes at the moment. So this is the way I'm going to tackle this fringe. I want it quite short. Take all this away. Really nice wee disconnected fringe. Just go in, make sure I've got it all. Grab it with the small teeth of my comb and the scissors, and I'm just going to go straight across. Again, just drawing those scissors back as I go. Hi guys, so just thought I'd come back on and show you me going in and chipping out my outline. This is the triangular side, this is the round side. So you can see I've got a wee bit ragged after my blow dry, but I'll go in and I'm going to chip out a nice outline. I actually like the way that pink's sitting, it shows you the weight line as well. Right, so what I'm going to do is, this is a rounded line. So I want to chip out something nice and round here. And I've got a wee bit that I can go into at that hairline. So this is the way I'm going to tackle this. So I'm going to come in. Let me actually move you so I can go closer. I'm ensuring that I'm eye level with the line that I'm going to cut. And I'm going to kind of cut something rounded like this. So I want to keep this where it is. I quite like that. The length it is. I've got a little strand coming from somewhere. Right, so I'm going to go in with my scissors again, holding in this position. And I'm going to just start by drawing the scissors back. And just looking out for that client's ear. And slightly up, just going in. Just taking a step back, seeing how that looks. I can see here I would like to take this, chip this out a little bit more, so I'm just going to come in and do that. Right, I'm quite happy with that side at the moment. And then for my other side, I've got a little bit of tidying up to do here as well. Straight to the other side. Okay, and I can see this here. So really I would like to take off from here round. I've got a little bit of serum on my hand, so I'm just going to flatten that hair out there. And I'm just going to go in where I can see and just draw my scissors straight back from there. I'm going to go a little bit shorter, just the tiniest bit. Okay, and now this section here. So I want to go from here, I want to take off that whole part there. So I'm going to come in, my scissors in this angle, because I'm going to be cutting up and leaving a little point here. So let's go for that. Again, chipping back the way, chipping back, just to where I can see the curve. There we go. And then I can just look underneath. If there's any strands, I just need to tidy. Right, and then I'm coming back to the front. I want to take this a little bit shorter actually. Really want it quite exaggerated. Make that a little bit thicker, because why not, right? A little bit thicker, a little bit shorter. Let's do it. Use the small piece of the small teeth on my comb. A wee tap above and below. To come straight across. Hi guys, so this is my final look. All I've done is put a little bit of product on the top. I took a little thin section down the pattern, just lifted it up and cut into it a little bit, and then put some hairspray, just dusted over the top, and then lifted and just rubbed these little sections between my fingers, because I like my work to look a wee bit different from the norm. This is the back. So what I done was I worked that line round. It looks a wee bit messy just now, but once I kind of comb it down again, I worked that line round, just chipping away, put my scissors in and just drawing them back. And then I've made a little point down here, and then this side's much shorter, and then my point goes, it's not meant to be equal here. I've not tried to make it even, and then just my line round the bottom as well. And then you can see the colour that I've used, the silver, in here. So what I've done was I bleached this head, I used 6%, and then I used my Schwarzkopf 7.982 on top and 721 in here. I used a little bit of pastel fire as well through that, left it on after the bleach, and this is my final result, guys. So hope you like it, something a wee bit different. Round graduation on one side, triangular on the other. The weight pushes forward here, closing the face in. The weight pushes backwards here, opening up the face.